I instantly thought of you because, chaplain of the culture, Yale MDiv, how you always say it. Okay.
Here
So
to
Jaden Ivey. So
yes,
NBA player Jaden Ivey played for
right.
the Chicago
At least
Bulls.
he used to.
Well, he used to play for the Chicago Bulls. He used to play for the Detroit Pistons as well.
I think I seen that.
Yes,
Yes.
we actually drafted him. If I'm not, yeah, I believe we
Really?
drafted him,
Okay. Okay.
and I believe some rumblings was going on behind the scenes
Then, even then.
then. So
Wow.
instead of us embarrassing him, we just kind of let him go, or like we traded him or whatever, and we didn't
Mm.
get that much for him because he was a very high pick. So a lot of people were
Oh.
speculating like, what's going on? And then the Bulls picked him up,
Mhm.
and he didn't even really get that much playing time and stuff like that. And he's like a high pick and he can play. So, but it was a lot of the personal
Something's
things
going on.
he was going through. So Jaden Ivey would still receive his $10 million
Mhm.
from his salary after being cut by the Chicago Bulls for speaking out on LGBTQ and religious topics. He's also at odds with his wife and their family as well. So there's a lot going on. He was on Facebook Live driving. That's always a bad sign. So when you seen that,
When I seen that, the first thing that came to my mind was religious trauma. And a lot of you pastors are going to get sued when you get a class action, or all of these people who have experienced this trauma and they have created like these different pathways, or like,
like narratives in their
yes,
head.
they're different narratives. I think the word I'm looking for is pathology, but yes, narratives in their head that I have got to, as a vessel of God, as as a temple of the Almighty, that I have got to be against certain people, certain lifestyles, certain groups. And what I don't understand is, why would you criticize, particularly Pride Month or LGBTQ or whatever the league
When
is
is
doing?
Pride Month? Like when is that?
It's June. It's on my, and I don't
Oh,
even,
okay.
and I have to share my whole birthday with one of the, first of all, June is the best month, period. But I have to share my birthday with everybody who is celebrating like their sexuality, and I don't even you know what I'm
Yeah, you
saying?
don't
Y'all
care.
taking my shine as a Gemini,
Yeah.
and I don't even speak out. My thing is, why are you speaking out on something that, this either one or two things is happening here. Either it concerns him because he's closeted, he might be attracted to one of them boys on the team.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? They do look good.
mm.
I don't blame you, Jaden. And then or two, you're speaking out because it's like, this is okay to speak out on. See, what we don't talk about is that we pick and choose. So I
Yeah.
did a little investigative journalism.
Okay.
And I thought that if he is going to look at what he called the Word of God, and I think he's talking about the Christian Bible, like, also, let's be clear, there's several words of God, right? You
Right.
have the Quran, you
Hmm.
have the Torah, you
Yeah.
have, so there's several divine books out there, but this particular, his Word of God, right, where we pick and choose. And my thing is, again, if you're not attracted to them boys on the team and it doesn't concern you,
Yeah.
why are you picking and choosing, Pride Month or someone's sexuality? Why don't you choose something that really concerns you? Like, I don't know, modesty, not having babies out of
So he
wedlock.
got kids out of wedlock.
No, he is a child out of wedlock.
But that's kind of not his fault though, right?
But that would be something that would have impact his life. So according to people .com, he was raised by a single mom.
Yeah.
So, there's different struggles associated and affiliated with being raised by a single mom, having a child out of wedlock,
Yeah.
not necessarily having the two support
Do you
systems
think
there
he?
every
Do you think
day.
he probably feel like kind of like not a hypocrite, but like how you could
I
learn
think he
so
would.
much stuff and now you got regret on how you were raised or how you came up or like like that happens a lot. People grow up in the hood and they kind of like rebel against the hood and say F the hood and they like
Mm,
be like anti that because now they got exposed to either like college life or the professional life and stuff like that. That
hmm.
happens to a lot of people, and they start to criticize and overly criticize
Yes.
what they represent. So
Yeah.
in that case, he's talking all this Christian and religious stuff, and he's the product of everything he's speaking
Like,
out
his parents
against.
was not married.
Exact. Everything he's speaking out against, he's the product of.
Mm-hmm. But that would, for me, that would make more sense to start in your own house, right? If you are this born again Christian who feels like it is now your duty to, because again, you're just speaking, you're not really doing anything impactful except for ruining your own career. But okay, fine.
Yeah.
Then why don't you rebuke your mother? Why don't you say that, she was not married when she had you, and so she's
Is he
sending.
married? Yeah, he's married right now though.
Yes, so his wife is saying that, according to him, his wife is saying he's crazy. His whole family is saying that he's crazy. It's coming from out of him, so
Yeah.
I don't really know what they're saying or what they're not saying, but he feels very isolated in this moment, as he should, because again, you're isolating other people. Start at home. Start with your own parents. Start with your mom and start with your dad, and say that they are
Man,
sinning against God.
see, this is why I don't. I'm not saying I'm not a religious person, but this is why I don't really like speaking about or play with people religion or politics and stuff. Man, people can have everything and
$10 million contract.
and perception,
Mm-hmm.
the perception of everything. You've made it to the top of the top. Even
Top
if
of
you're
the
not
top.
the best player on the league, everybody in the NBA is the
You
best.
touching money that some people would never see.
You got generational
Generational
wealth.
wealth.
You got access to the best trainers, to the best everything, and like religion is still overpowering all of that, and you worked
Yeah.
your whole
Whole
life
life. Yep.
for this opportunity, and you're letting like that overpower instead of looking at religion and God and saying like I've been blessed with all
Oh
of this.
yes, I have an
You're letting that
opportunity.
overpower you. But then there's another argument where it's like he should be able to speak out and
Mm-hmm.
speak about the things that he believe in.
He can.
And
He definitely can. But don't think that you speaking out doesn't come with a consequence.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And that's not to say that people don't have their First Amendment right. Of course you have. Nobody said don't speak. They just said you won't be on this team anymore. That's what they said.
you know what? I don't really know if I like that, but yes, I agree.
You that what? That
I
there's consequences?
no, I don't know if I like the fact that. Well, okay, let me rephrase it. If he didn't get his full salary, I wouldn't like it.
Mm.
I think he should be
Well,
able.
no, he signed the contract.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he should be able to. But they still got character stuff in there, like character this. If you go,
It could breach the contract.
correct.
Okay.
But what the NBA is essentially saying is, it doesn't breach our contract, but it breaches our marketing contract. Meaning,
Which is huge.
we don't want to
Be affiliated.
be affiliated. We're gonna still pay you,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll rather lose 10 million and walk away than allow you to hurt some of our brands and our deals and our audience
Yeah.
that might be LGBTQ, that might not be a Christian,
Yeah.
that might not be
You got-
into religion at all.
Yeah. They
So
got boards, they got people, or they got
yes,
higher ups. They
yes,
everybody. You don't know everybody's situation,
yes,
and also you don't know like your own situation. I will also like to highlight here, since we're here, and this is why, to your point, I really like that you said you can have everything going for you, but like this religious like trauma
still take over.
is still taking over. And the reason why I call it trauma is because it is traumatic. You're losing
Yeah.
your job. Lots of people, like, they cut ties with their own family members because they don't go to the church
Probably
anymore.
about to lose your wife. You
You
about
probably
to lose half of your money.
and so it is traumatic. But the other part is, again, we're picking and choosing. It's also in the Christian Bible that you're not supposed to braid your hair. And he had
It is?
Yes. He's
See, I don't really.
Yeah.
I probably need to open my Bible. I
No,
don't really
it's
be
not.
knowing all this stuff.
No,
People be
because
coming out
you
saying.
would never know that if you don't study this field. So part of being a chaplain of the culture is saying, you say this about LGBTQ because you are going to point to Leviticus. But I can point to Timothy and I can show you this, and this goes against your
but
whole
the Bible
identity.
contradicts itself a lot, though.
Because it's not univocal. There's different authors. Thank you, because you're an intellectual and you can actually do the work to say, hey, well, what people were saying over here is different than what
'Cause
some
they say
people
a
were saying
sin
over
is
there.
equal.
Some people say that, right?
Yeah.
But there can be different arguments to say
Because I mean,
differently.
because even people say curse words is a sin.
That's nowhere in
Right, but that's how but that's how we've been taught our whole life,
that's
and
what I'm
that's
saying.
what the traditional church would
So
teach you too.
I was about to say, so what's going on, James, is that we are being instructed by both cultural narrative and with biblical narrative.
Yeah,
They are both in one. Like the idea that, oh, when God closes the door, he opens up a window.
yeah.
That ain't nowhere in the Bible. Like, you know what I mean? So we're instructed by both of those things. And so, of course, if you're a black pastor, it doesn't it doesn't help you to point to, hold on, let me get it right now. It doesn't help you to point to, oh yeah, there is this part about modesty that like women shouldn't get their hair braided.
Did it
That,
say women shouldn't get their hair braided, or
well,
nobody should get their
it's
hair?
talking about modesty.
Okay,
So in context, modesty is generally for women because the Bible is very sexist and
correct. Okay,
patriarchal.
yeah, yeah, makes sense.
But the idea that you shouldn't braid your hair because it brings too much attention. It's almost as like these authors were talking to a specific type of people, and I wonder what kind of people they were talking about not to look like. So
Yeah.
we really gotta unpack the anti-blackness that can also be found. So, I just want to point out that he's picking and choosing what he wants to
I
adhere.
mean, thank you guys for watching. In order to continue to support independent journalism, I need you to subscribe to our page below. And also, if you want the full podcast and more exclusive content, make sure you subscribe to the Patreon. Link is in the description.